In tapestry of time, every family has a story to tell, but memories captured in old photos can fade away, lost to the ravages of time. Don't let your cherished memories slip away. Digitizing your family photos is the first step to preserving your legacy. At Legacy Planning and Preservation, we specialize in preserving your family's history. Secure your memories for generations to come. Preserve the past, protect the future. Visit our website now and take the first step to preserving your family's legacy. Don't wait. The moments captured in those photos won't last forever.
One of the greatest empires in world history was the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was one of the most prosperous and powerful empires in the antiquity of Africa. Its growth and expansion from the 13th century onwards was legendary and pivotal in the history and culture of Western Africa. The Mali Empire Volume 1, from author J.P. Martin, available on Amazon, is a book which provides the full historical record of the Mali Empire. From their control over the trans-Saharan trade routes and development of great cities such as Timbuktu, to their influential royal class who produced notable African kings such as Mansa Musa, Sundiata Keita, and Mansa Abubakar Keita II, the Mali Empire made a significant impression. This book is perfect for anyone interested in learning more about the history of Western Africa. Order your copy right now on Amazon. The Mali Empire, Volume 1, from author J.P. Martin. Go to Amazon.com and get your copy today.
Peace, everyone. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Do me a favor, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. That is your price of admission. It's hitting that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Let's get this banner going. Hopefully, you guys are having a great Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday. It's going to be a big day. We got the Super Bowl. My country, Nigeria, is playing Cote d'Ivoire in the finals of the African Cup situation. So tomorrow there's a lot going on. So, enjoy your Super Bowl, enjoy your football. So there's football, there's American football, then there's football, which is the sport that's played everywhere else outside of America. So guys, enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. We'll probably go live tomorrow in the morning. And, hopefully you guys have a great time tomorrow. Eat some barbecue, eat some Tostitos, chips, and salsa, or whatever, y'all. I haven't been to a Super Bowl party in years. I think the last time I went to a Super Bowl party was probably, I want to say 2010, maybe. In fact, it was 2010. A friend of mine, this is back when I was living in LA. A friend of mine, shout out to Larry in the chat room. Larry, you heard about what happened to the I guess it would be the CEO of Access Bank. He passed away. His family, his wife, and his son, they passed away in a helicopter crash. Access Bank is a major bank in Nigeria, and the CEO, I guess he'd be considered the CEO, passed away in a helicopter crash. He was heading from LA to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. Him, his wife, and I think either one of his kids or two of his kids, they, rest in peace. They passed away. That was earlier today. So that was terrible news. What was I saying? Oh, last time I went to a Super Bowl party was like, it had to be 2010. I remember, I think the Steelers were playing. In fact, was the Steelers playing in that Super Bowl in 2010? Steelers Super Bowl. Let's see here. No. Let's see here. Hold on. Or it might have been 2011. Oh no, here we go. 2000. So they played in 2009 and 2011. It wasn't. It had to be the one. It had to be 2011. Then. Excuse me. Had to be 2011. Yeah, yeah. They lost to Green Bay. Yeah, because I remember they lost that game. Um, so that was the last like Super Bowl party I went to. That was 2011. Had a good time. Ate good food and hung out and all that good stuff. You know, but enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your Sunday. I got Nigeria tomorrow. Of course, I got to roll with Nigeria in the soccer match tomorrow. I'm sorry, football game tomorrow against Cote d'Ivoire. So looking forward to that. Got a couple of announcements before we jump into the topic. Announcement number one: Senegal for the Jazz Festival and Dakar Art or Dak Art. All right, it's every 2 years, and it happens to fall during the dates that we're going to Senegal for the Jazz Festival, Dakar. So it's the largest contemporary art, I guess, gathering or festival in Africa. Well, in West Africa for sure. It's taking place in Senegal in Dakar while we're there, and then after that, we're gonna go to St. Louis for the Jazz Festival. So if you're listen, Flexed Up, I've been telling people that Dakar, when it comes to fashion and art, if you're into art and fashion and like collecting, artifacts and African antiques, Senegal by far is the best place to go where you have access to all of this. Senegal by far, if that's what you're into. Again, if you're into art, if you're into collecting, Senegal by far is where it's at. So go to donfo.africa. Let's see here. Oops, I had it going. There we go. Go to donfo.africa. You'll see it, the banner at the bottom of the screen. To learn more, again, please visit donfo.africa. If you have not bought the documentary, if you're watching this, and if you have not bought my documentary, In Search of a Who, streaming now at go to searchforwho.com. Link is at the banner scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Go to searchforwho.com, follow the instructions, click on that link, and please support and buy the documentary. It's streamed, so you go watch it anywhere you go on any of your devices. You set up a login password. It's Netflix. It's Netflix. It is part of a bigger play that I'm working on. Again, it's Netflix, and it's part of a bigger play that I'm working on. So please visit searchforwho.com and buy the documentary. But again, searchforwho.com, streaming at the bottom. But I got a promotion going on for you guys. Shout out to our brother Olayinka. Y'all need vitamins. Okay, you guys need vitamins. I take these vitamins. These vitamins are great, and this is a Black-owned company. How many Black-owned vitamin companies have you guys heard of? Again, how many Black-owned vitamin companies have you guys heard of? So you're gonna go to OlayinkaProducts.com. Again, OlayinkaProducts.com. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Here we go, OlayinkaProducts.com. Okay, I have a promotion going. Go to OlayinkaProducts.com. Links right there on the screen. It's in the chat room. Again, go to OlayinkaProducts.com. buy any vitamin or whatnot, go through the his catalog of products, buy something, send me an email. After you make a purchase, send me an email. Okay. So go to olainkaproducts.com. After you make a purchase, send me an email. All right. Of your receipt and your full name. I'm going to enter you into a drawing. All right. Again, I'm going to enter you into a drawing. And the winner, I'm going to give you, you're going to have access to my documentary. So you get a free copy of my documentary and you'll get an autographed copy of my children's book. Again, and you'll get an autographed copy of one of my children's books. So again, go to olainkaproducts.com. Buy a vitamin, buy a product, doesn't matter what it is. You need this anyway. This is something you guys need. All right. There's something, this is something you guys need. And this is Black owned. All right. I don't know of too many Black owned vitamin companies. Once you have bought the product, send me a copy of receipt, include your full name. I'm enter you into a drawing. All right. All right. We have to get at least 10. All right. 10 people buy a product, send it to me. That's going to trigger the drawing. All right. All right. We have until February 15th. All right. February 15th. We have until February 15th. So once again, go to lowaincomeproducts.com, buy something, send me an email to uhuru@searchforhuru.com, or just go to the Donfo site. It doesn't matter. Go to uhuru@searchforhuru.com. Send me an email of your receipt and your name. Got to enter you into a drawing. And again, you'll get a free copy of one of my children's books, autograph, and the documentary. All right. So there it is. There it is. But we need at least 10 people. All right. At least 10 people. So guys, go and support Ola Inca Products. All right. Again, go and support Ola Inca Products. You need these vitamins anyway. All right. Let's jump into today's topic. All right. Let's jump into today's topic. We're going to be talking about Amanda Seales. All right. So Amanda Seales is now on the reparations. We need reparations train. And I remember in 2020, when Biden was running against Trump, Amanda Seales was one of those all kin folk, all skin folk, and kin, those silly ass slogans. All skin folk and kin folk. We got to get rid of the orange man. And this is in response to even people who were asking for reparations. Hey, let's stop giving away our vote and see what we can get for our vote. This is what, like ever since Obama, there's been people of the Black community who've been very vocal in regards to reparations. But then you've had these gatekeepers or so-called gatekeepers, because you see what's going on right now, like with Fannie Willis and whatnot. These so-called gatekeepers, Roland Martin, we'll call them faux gatekeepers, who are the first ones to shut you down and tell you, we just got to vote. We just got to vote. We got to get rid of the orange man. It's not the right time right now. You're a distraction. You're getting in the way. She was one of those folks. Now she's talking about some reparations. Let me pull the video up. But before we pull that video up, I got to pull up one of my favorite all-time Kamala Harris interviews. Again, I need to pull up one of my all-time Kamala Harris interviews when she speaks on reparations. Again, and Kamala was speaking on reparations even before, like before she was elected. So you had Amanda Seales saying, we got to vote for Biden. We got to vote for Kamala because we got to get rid of the orange man. So what? Leave that reparation stuff alone. It's not the right time. And Kamala Harris pretty much said, y'all ain't getting reparations. So the person that told you you're not getting reparations, this is who your girl Amanda Seales voted for and was trying to guilt you guys. And I'm not going to say bully because, how are you a grown ass man and you allow a woman to bully you? So I'm not going to say bully, but push you to voting for Kamala Harris. When she said you ain't getting reparations, Amanda Seales said vote for her anyway. But now she's talking about we need to have a reparations conversation. But let me play my favorite Kamala Harris interview. My favorite Kamala Harris interview.
Transgender. It's made very, very cool through the media.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200
That's a yes or no question.
We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people,
it's coming. My favorite part is coming.
Let's be clear about that.
It's coming.
Let's really be clear about that.
Tell her, come on.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people.
Let's run that back. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Run that back. Let them know, Kamala.
Let's really be clear about that.
Let them know, Kamala.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people.
No.
Let's run that back.
Let's run that back, Kamala.
Will benefit all of society.
Let's run that back.
Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people.
No.
Because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole. Will benefit Black people. Will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. Because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that.
And this is who y'all voted for. This is who y'all voted for. Took your booties to the poll for. No voting, no fucking. Stroll to the polls. I got to clown a D9. I'm D9. I'm a Kappa. So I gotta roast a D9. Y'all stroll to the polls for this. The D9 stroll to the polls. Well, let me back up. Let me back up for a second. I didn't see the male D9, as far as the Qs, the Nupes, Sigmas, Alphas, Iotas. I didn't see them. I saw the Deltas, the AKAs, SG Rows, Zetas. That's what I saw strolling to the polls for this, especially the AKAs, because Kamala's an AKA. This is who I saw strolling to the polls for this right here. So they already told you ain't getting no reparations. But now we got to talk about reparations. Listen, that boat has sailed, okay? And let me explain. That boat has sailed. It sailed. You're not getting your reparations. But now you talk about reparations. And the people who told you specifically that you're not getting reparations, you voted for. They told you we're not giving you reparations. They told you that. But you went out and voted for them. You went out there and was yelling at black folks for not for even, how dare you question Sleepy Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? How dare you bring up reparations to them when we got to get rid of the orange man? How dare you? That's what you were doing. That's what you were doing. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let me pull this up. This was you. This was you right here. Hold on. This was you. This was the community. This was team vote blue no matter who. Let me pull this up. This was y'all. Amanda Seals. Can you guys see this? Let me blow this up. Let me make sure you guys see this. Make sure you guys see this. Amanda Seals. Let me take this ad down. About last night. I don't want to hear no more shit about reparations, Black Agenda, Kamala's AG, the 94 crime bill. We got to get focused on the now. Get rid of the orange man. This was y'all right here. This was y'all. And it wasn't just 2020. Y'all was saying the same shit 2016, but replace the orange man. Leave the orange man out because well, not in 2016, but 2012, y'all was saying the same thing when it was Obama versus, I guess, Mitt Romney. No, you know what? People change, bro. I hear. You know what? You're right, Ishori Entertainment. People do change, but what I want to see, we won't find out to probably October, November. I want all these black folks who were upset at Biden and Kamala. I want to see if they stand on their square come October, November. I want to see them. I want to see if they stand on their square come October, November. When they get asked, who are you voting for? I want to see if they cower down and see what they do. That's when I'll take them serious. Because right now it's just lip service. But this was the community. This was team all kin folk ain't all skin folk ain't kin. All them silly ass slogans. All skin folk ain't kin folk. We got to get rid of the orange man. This was you. About last night, I don't want to hear no more shit about reparations, Black Agenda, Kamala's AG, the 94 crime bill. We got to get focused on it now. Get the orange man out of here. Vote for us. Who is us? Hold on. How did Biden and Kamala Harris become us? Guys, this was the silly, ignorant shit they was pushing in 2020. Yeah, don't ride the fence. Listen, I tell you right now, and I said in 2020, I am 10 Trump 2024. I'm not riding no fence, pause. Who in regards to who I'm voting for in 2024. Trump 2024. Ain't no I don't know. I mean, I don't like the Trump 2024. I'm already telling you guys who I am endorsing. So I'm just interested to see come October, November. Well, Trump said something, and I talked to Kamala because pretty soon, guys, Kamala Harris and I think Joe Biden's already hitting up a couple black churches because that's what they do. They go to a black church and the cookout and barbershops. So pretty soon, Kamala Harris is going to her come from her wing from the White House out of hiding, probably around this summer, early fall, and she's going to come to the black community and she's going to talk to Amanda Seales, our so-called black entertainers, and I guarantee you Amanda's going to have a change of heart. This is how it works. But listen, if I'm wrong, I will be the first to apologize and say that I'm wrong. Guys, listen, I'll be honest. I've moved on from reparations. I have transcended reparations. I'm over it. I'll be honest. I'm over it. If we get it, we get it. We don't, we don't. All I know is Trump promised the black community $500 billion. Again, Trump promised the black community, I think it was either 50 billion or $500 billion. Let me back up. Let me check. How much was it? How much was it? Hold on, where is it? I know Trump brought something to the table. It wasn't reparations, but it was something. And black folks said no. Instead, well, I think it was 500 billion. Yeah. Black folks said no. Instead, we settled for the guy that said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So this is what black people chose. The vice president who was offended, how dare you ask me for reparations for black people? And the guy who was offended and said, how dare you even consider not voting for me? You ain't black. This is what black people chose. And you have people like Amanda Seales who yelled and screamed at you guys, used her platform to yell and scream at you guys. To vote for this guy. To vote for Sleepy Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, please click on the link again. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, please click on the link. Come and join us. And also make sure you guys take advantage of the promotion. Go to olayinkaproducts.com. Again, go to olayinkaproducts.com. Ain't nobody see this is what I'm talking about. See, this is the same tactics that everybody was using. You about to settle for Trump, who don't mind, and his boys putting you back to those Jim Crow days. What? How? 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 How did he put us back in Jim Crow when he was in office? Man, they gonna put you back in chains. They go see. It's just a bunch of fear mongering. They gonna put you back in chains. They gonna put you in chains. But you know what? Let's look up. black statistics under Jim Crow. Hold on. Let's back up for a second. Jim Crow. That's like when black people had their own hotels, laundromats, restaurants, own businesses, where we circulated the money within our community more than we do now. Is that what you're referring to? But hold on, but let's back up. Isn't Joe Biden known as Jim Crow Joe? How did Joe Biden get the name Jim Crow Joe? Again, how did Joe Biden get the name Jim Crow Joe? Isn't that Joe Biden's nickname? But no, but the fear mongering has to stop. You know, they're gonna put us back in chains, you know, and all this other stuff. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. But anyways, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. Also, make sure you go to olayikaproducts.com, olayikaproducts.com. Buy your vitamins. You guys need your vitamins anyway. Yeah, right. The surgeon, Myron Rolle. Hold on, Myron Rolle, exactly, Myron Rolle. She was trying to do that Me Too shit to Myron Rolle. The surgeon, right? Myron Rolle, Rhodes Scholar as well. His segregation policies in Delaware. So Alan, so he has segregation policies in Delaware, and I'm sure this is prior to him running for office or running for president, and you still voted for the guy, Alan. So let's back up for a second. So when it comes to politics, Joe Biden is known for having a track record of segregation, and you still voted for the guy. FOMophobic, that's a civil suit. Who cares? It's civil. And like OJ Simpson, you know, OJ Simpson owes the family of the woman he allegedly killed. Well, no, let me back up. Who he did not kill, because he was found not guilty. So OJ Simpson still owes the family of the Nicole Simpson's family. Nicole Simpson, there you go. Nicole Simpson. OJ Simpson still owes Nicole Simpson's family money from a civil suit. And I don't think he's ever paid a dime, because it's like when you live in a certain state, he lives in Florida now. And I believe if you live in Florida, like there's ways around it. So it's a judgment, it's a civil suit from shit that was almost 40 years ago. Who cares? Like, who really cares? Nobody's falling for that. Again, it's a civil suit from a situation that took place almost 40 years ago. Come on. Jonathan Miller, go ahead.
The only reason why I called in is because what that woman just said is just triggering. He gonna put us back in chains.
That's what
Like,
they do.
sis,
Sis,
if you don't mind, get up here on this damn thing and explain what chains have Republicans put you in since slavery. It's dumb. You can't possibly believe the shit that y'all believe. Y'all can't be that stupid.
Like it's like we're scared of our own shadow. And like John, Jonathan, you don't understand the number of black people are running to are scared of the white man in America and is scared of the African in Africa. Like it's the weirdest shit ever.
Man, I was on some other platform yesterday, and this one woman If for some reason it's always black women, right? For whatever reason, this one woman, she gonna say, "Oh, you moved to Nigeria, but you come back to America. Why don't you just stay in Nigeria?" And in my mind, I'm like, "Bitch, I got 3 kids in America. Should I abandon them?" And then the next thing, I'm just like, "What the fuck is so wrong with people with going around the world?" It bothers me. Don't blame me, but I believe Black Americans are a pretty capable, smart, intelligent group of people that should be competing on the world stage. Why the fuck do people believe you should stay in America and settle for just America? No one's doing that shit, but you want to do it. If there's other motherfuckers going to other countries, they're competing. Your ass need to go compete too and stop being a bitch. Go compete. Stop creating excuses to not compete. It's just dumb. I don't know.
I hear you, bro. I sense the frustration, but our people are just gonna be our people. Like this guy right here, trying to shame people into voting for a racist rapist is wild. Who did he rape? When was Donald Trump found guilty of rape? Phomophobic. When was Donald Trump found guilty of rape? As far as the racist part, Donald Trump was the homie until he ran for office. In fact, hold on. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Let's address the racist part. Even after the Central Park Five, even after the Central Park Five situation, Donald Trump was still the homie. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go right here. Give me a second. Donald Trump was still the homie. There we go. Look at Trump with your boy Al Sharpton. Look at Trump with, the black congregation. I mean, he was the homie. He was the homie. Hold on. Let me find another one. Let me find another one. And this is even after the Central Park Five. Here we go. Here we go. Kicking it. Kicking it. Kicking it. That was a civic case. I mean, a civil.
They say Donald Trump was racist, but you can go back and look. He endorsed Jesse Jackson for president. I mean, my God.
I mean, that's
These
what I'm
people
saying.
would just listen to anything that the Democrats tell them. And the shit that throws me off, I hate people that be like, "Oh, Malcolm X was our hero." Mother, did you listen to what the guy told you? Did you ever listen to him? How he told you how Democrats and white liberals are? It's like they just.
Yeah. Go ahead, Elvis. Unmute yourself, Elvis.
What's up, Dennis?
Hey, what's up, Elvis?
I'm good, and hello to Jonathan. Dennis, do you agree with politically with everybody that you hang out with or all your friends? Do you agree with them?
No, of course not.
All right. So, and some of them have probably done bad things in their life. Some of them have criminal records. So, but
Yeah.
you're still friends with them, right?
Of course.
All right. So the reason I'm asking these questions is because obviously, right, Donald Trump and his father, before even we're talking about him getting into politics, they were charged with discriminating against black people in their housing units in New Jersey and in New York, right? So and Donald Trump's father went to a KKK rally in New York, and there's
Okay.
pictures of him to prove it.
Okay.
So when people say, there are people say that some Democrats are racist, and I don't doubt it, but I can guarantee you they have a lot of they have a lot of black friends. They go to party, black people party, and they still have racist tendencies. So when you're saying that Donald Trump is not racist because he has black friends, you buy into that same trope that some racists say. I have black friends. I'm not racist. I have a friend who's black.
No.
So
But if you look at the actions of Donald Trump when it comes to the black community in regards to funding, a number of ventures of black people in the black community. I mean, it's just, for a racist, for a white supremacist, and you know what? I gotta look into Trump's case as far as the discrimination as far as housing. Can you go into details on that?
right. So for example, right, there were he was pretty much a slumlord. And when he started getting money, or I guess when he wanted money from, this was during the '80s when Ed Koch was the mayor, either the mayor or the governor of New York, and Donald Trump had a relationship with him, and well, his father had a relationship with Ed Koch, and he got sued for discriminating, the Housing Protection Act, which he violated blatantly many times, and he got sued for it, and he
Okay.
actually had to pay money to the state of New York for violating it. So again, I'm not here to try to tell you that Donald Trump is the worst person. He's not a overt racist, but he has certain, prejudice against certain people, even Jewish people. He has certain prejudices
I
against them.
just
So that's,
just out of
that's not
curiosity,
the
does being a slumlord make you racist? Because I know
no,
black ones
but
that are slumlords, and they
yes,
bishops, they church owners.
right. But the case, go read the case, the case file.
Right.
Discrimination.
Right. So I'm looking at the case file, and again, this is not to give Donald Trump a pass because it was his company. It was people who were working at certain properties that were like supervisors or property managers that were discriminatory, which would implicate Donald Trump. Yes, but was it Donald Trump directly? That's where it gets very gray.
Right. So the question,
So it was his employees, which will implicate him. So
okay, Donnie, so if you want to say that, right?
no,
If
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the file. I'm looking at some of the files right now.
okay, fine. If you look at, I'll give you an example, right? That whole scam about the Trump University thing, when he got caught, swindling people out of money. What did he say? He knew nothing about it. It was the employees and this and that. He tried to blame it on other people, when in fact he was the one who was the head of the company, and he had to pay, I think, 25 million to reimburse those
Right,
students who
right,
were scammed.
exactly,
So
exactly.
he didn't scam them, quote unquote, personally, but I can guarantee you he knew what was going on in that company. That's why he was liable for what happened. So again, I'm not here to nitpick, but the point is, when you take out an ad in perhaps the most popular newspaper in the entire world and say that these guys should rot in jail, even though you know they were found not guilty, or there wasn't enough evidence, but he said even if they wasn't guilty, they should still rot in jail.
They were found guilty. They were
No, I
found
know
guilty.
they were found guilty, but he said even if they weren't, they didn't do it, they should still. And it when they got it, he doubled down on it. He never did it for any other race of
Listen,
people who
if you could do me a favor, if you could post a link in a private chat of him saying even if they're not guilty, they still need to be rotten
Did
hell.
you
Can
read?
you?
Did you read the op-ed that he took out in the New York Times?
I'm just asking. Well, can you do me a favor? Post the link, and then I can share it, and I'll be just of him saying that, hey, even if they're not guilty, they still need to rot in hell. If you could just do me a favor and post the link.
All right, I'll do it while I'm talking.
All right, go ahead.
But yes, but your issue with reparation, right? I guess that's the main topic on the show tonight.
I don't have an issue with it, but it's just I've moved past it. Like I'm over it.
No, I mean I'm calling to participate on the show, so I'm talking about the questions on the show.
Okay, go ahead.
What is your problem with reparation? Don't you think that black people should get reparations?
Who said I had a problem with it?
No, I'm asking you if you have a problem with it. If
I
you
don't have
if
a
you
problem
do,
with it.
because
I don't have a
so you
problem.
agree that black people should get
I think I
reparations.
think I think there's a debt that's owed to a segment of black society here in America, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it if we don't get it or not. And it's not going to be like it's not my main objective either.
Okay, so maybe I was wrong then, because I see you sometimes, maybe in cahoots with Brandon when they're saying that it's never going to happen and
Yeah, I don't,
pointless
I
for
don't, I
people.
don't, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but that doesn't mean that I'm against it.
All right, then I guess you made your position clear because I'm for it too. I think black people should get reparations definitely, and I think those people who are making the case for it, people like Tariq Nasheed and other people who are making the case, they have other things that we have problems with when they're saying certain things about a certain group of people. But I think on that issue alone, I think they have a point. And I think, like you said, you agree with it. But Brandon, when he comes on the show and he's talking all of that, you never push back on him to say, well, what exactly do you have against it? Why don't you think they should even fight for it?
Well, like I said,
So
I'm indifferent, so I really don't have a strong opinion against
I would say
reparations.
stop the cap because those people are not pushing for reparations. There's no way
how
that
do
they're
how do
pushing for
you
reparations.
how do you push for it, Jonathan? If you wanted to get something done, how do you push for it?
The same way that they push for civil rights. You have people literally looking up laws, looking up different statutes, lobbying different Congress people, lobbying presidents, the whole damn nine. They're not doing that for reparations. Have you seen Tariq Nasheed with any president, any governor, hell, even any mayor? Have you
And then,
seen it?
if I could add to that, even during civil rights, you had the Montgomery boycotts. You had a number of boycotts. Black folks ain't boycotting nothing. So that's what I'm saying. The reparations like argument is just it's whatever.
They always use these comparisons to the Japanese people that got reparations. Those people were literally the ones that were put inside some camp by the federal government. The argument for reparations wouldn't be the same because the federal government isn't the ones that exactly enslaved you. There were different companies and trades and things of that shit. So even the way that they even argue for it doesn't really make any sense because there's no legal backing for it.
No, it was slavery was illegal. It was legally institutionalized in the United States.
Slavery
It was,
happened before the United States was even a country. You're aware of that, right? It
well,
didn't start
you're
when
talking
America became a country. It started
you're
before
talk
then.
you're talking about the 13 colonies and things of that nature, right? But
Yeah,
that was what was it called then?
they were
Because
just British colonies.
after the Declaration of Independence, when they declared their independence from Britain or from England, they became a country, and slavery was still going on in this country. So they were a nation when slavery was still going on, and there was laws passed, and people wanted amendments and certain things that that excluded blacks, called them 3/5 of a human being. So there were laws that was discriminatory, and there was law that established slavery. So it was federal, it was a law from the United States then, even though it was just 13 quote unquote states or 13
The federal
colonies at the
law,
time.
the federal law at that time period didn't
So you,
specifically state that shit. It was the colonies from the South that stated that. They had their own laws. They created their own laws. That's why the North was against slavery, supposedly. And then the South was pro slavery.
No, but you still have slaves in the north. It wasn't outlawed in the northern states, right? You still had slave there. It was just less prominent there, but you still had slave there.
I
So
mean, with all due respect, we had alcohol all over the place during
uh,
Prohibition. I mean, people do shit,
come on.
but
No.
we're talking about what if you just know what, Dinus, one day you should have an argument between people who say that they're for reparations. What argument do they have for it? Because one of the biggest problems that I see with the argument for reparations is that, I mean, even there are some people in Oregon that be like, oh man, we want reparations. You wasn't enslaved in Oregon, nigga. So how the hell you gonna get reparations for that? Yo, people left the South and went to another state seeking for better opportunities, but you want the state of Oregon to pay for it. That doesn't make any
No, no.
sense.
So Jonathan,
But
I
what
think
does make sense,
Jonathan, if I can interject real quick, sorry. I think so with reparations, especially when what's going on in California, it's more than just slavery. It's certain laws as far as not having access to capital, housing laws that are discriminatory, things like that. So it's more than just slavery, if that makes sense.
now with that part, I would agree. In the people that are still alive that went through that shit, instead of, because most of the time you got to admit they're just hoping that the Democrats just do something. That's their really push for push for reparations, just hoping. But me and my friend of mine, she's a fucking lawyer. I was like, wait a minute, why don't y'all just have like a class action lawsuit against these people or against the
Jonathan,
state that says that you can do something?
Hey, Jonathan, let me interject, Jonathan. Sorry to cut you off.
But
I asked a bunch of my lawyer friends here in Atlanta, because Atlanta is the black lawyer mecca here in Atlanta. And I asked a lot of my lawyer friends, like, won't y'all push for reparations? And they just not interested. Go ahead, Jonathan.
The funny thing is, a lot of our black lawyers aren't interested. But the minute a nigga get popped out of nowhere, they come out the woodworks. It's like, a lot of our lawyers just straight up suck. They grifters, the civil rights ones, they just looking for a come up. They're not pushing for reparations. We just got to be honest about it. People aren't serious about fighting for it. If black people really want reparations, first thing you got to do is get politically organized and stop voting like a bunch of dumbasses. You can't vote for a whole party 90-something% and be constantly giving them your vote. They ain't did shit for you. Tell you every single time they won't do shit for you, and you still vote for them. Talk about you want reparations. You should shoot yourself because you sound dumb as hell.
Jonathan, are you a Republican or independent in the way that you vote or the way that you associate yourself with a political institution?
I generally vote Republican. One, I make a good amount of money. I don't like paying taxes for shit. I really don't. Especially growing up in a area in which, I know a lot of welfare queens just living it up. You feel me? I don't want to pay my money towards that shit.
Thank you for saying that, because I was thinking about
to my female cousins, I still need those food stamps for half off.
All right. That's my point. Jonathan, let me make this point real quick, if you'll permit me. I thought about that long and hard after the last conversation I had on this platform. Look, many people ask, why do most black people, still vote Republicans? And I would tell you this. There are a lot of lawyers and doctors who are very wealthy and will probably appreciate some tax cut. But most of them who still, quote unquote, stay on the Democratic plantation, they know that most of their people, or the majority of their people, still need certain things from the government. And it almost seemed like a betrayal to go against that interest, because you hear Republicans always talking about, we got to cut these quote unquote entitlements. We got to cut these social programs. But these people know that, the vast majority of poor people in this country are minorities, and most of them are black. So it's going to put them at a disadvantage if they went with the Republicans, simply because they're now in that class, in that economic class, and vote against the interests of the majority of the people. So that's why
I push back against that. The vast majority of poor people in this country are white. They're not black.
When you say the vast majority, you're talking per capita, right? Per capita. So if you say there's 200 million whites and 40 million blacks, out of that, what's the percentage of black who are living in poverty compared to the percentage of black whites who are living in poverty?
Is actually people get confused is that America has always been designed to try to make minorities, or particularly black people, feel like we're either more of a burden than we are, or we make less money than we actually do. And me and Nigerian, we had this conversation before about, because he always say, Nigerians, we come to America, if you look it up, we outperform blacks. I'm like, no, the fuck you don't. The way that America does shit is faulty. It's just about putting some kind of weird outlook out there. They do this shit called medium income and blah, 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 right? Medium net worth. That means they take all the white billionaires in this country. Remember, you're American. Even if you live abroad, you still paying American taxes. They take all of these billionaires' net worth and then throw it in with the rest of the white people net worth. Obviously, if you had businesses when black people were in slavery, you probably should be doing better, right? If you owned land back in those days while black people didn't get the rights to own shit yet, your family should obviously be doing better, right? So when they do this medium income shit, they are literally taking the population, dividing it, and then breaking that population back together and saying, this is how much these people are worth. That's not the reality. The reality is a person in the state of California that's black don't necessarily make as less money as a person that's white, make more money than the person that's Latino, make more money than the person. That's a lot of people don't even know this. I know Indian people that's in tech, right? They come over here on these workers' visas. They pay more taxes and they pay into all of these institutions that the government set up, and they're not even supposed to be here. So the minute that they lose their job, they got 2 months to get the fuck out, and they're always getting fired. So they make it look a certain way when it's really not that. So no, majority of white people, I mean, the majority of poor people in this country are not black.
No, per capita they are.
Per
Per
capita is
capita.
bullshit.
No,
Per
no, no,
capita,
no.
listen.
That's not.
You
That's not.
got to
Hold on,
understand.
Jonathan.
That,
Just pass the mic for a
go ahead.
second, please. Right. So when people are talking about wealth, right? Usually they're not just talking about income. Sometimes they're talking about inherited wealth, right? So people who have homes, maybe they have, passed down to their children, and homes that's been in families for generations. That's what when they
Word.
talk about the statistics that says the average wealth of a white family is like 88,000, and the average wealth of a black family is like 15,000. you know so there's a discrepancy there because these people have had money in their family for a longer period of time, and there was a time where black people was discriminated against in this country, not even 100 years ago. So black people have had white people have had a head start, a way longer head start than black people to start earning money and start building generational wealth. So there's that not just income inequality, but generational wealth inequality. So that's what it is. But like you said, there's a lot of billionaires, a lot of very wealthy white people, and you do you add their wealth and you divide it by the amount of people there, and they come up on top. The same thing with black people. You still have a lot of millionaires, athletes, and lawyers and doctors, and some billionaires. But when you do that math and you divide it by the population, there's still way less wealth in the black community than there is in the white community.
The
That's a fact.
foolery
They're
is
doing it
when
based on per
there's
capita.
you put me, Dinus, you, and 20 other people in the house. One of us is a billionaire. The rest of y'all niggas make $10 every month. They'd go ahead and divide that up like the median per capita income this inside this household. You know that's dumb to the motherfucker, right?
I mean, you're looking at that's what medium means, because you're taking the highs and you're taking the low and you're dividing them and you're coming into the middle, and then you get the median,
And when they created
right?
this definition of median, what was the purpose of creating? They made the term
It's
for a
it's it's a
reason.
math. It's a math equation, Jonathan. It's not something that was racist or anything like that. It's just a math equation. You did I don't know what it's called, but there's a math where you have to find the medium, the mean, and so forth when you're doing that equation. So you have to figure it out. So it's just a way of figuring something out for the average. Medium, medium just means average in a way. So
Would
the
you would
average
you
wealth.
would you would you state that majority of black people live in the South in about maybe 8 states? Is that a fact?
I would assume so. There's a lot of black people who live down there in that, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. A lot of them
And you
live in the
agree
South.
that in the South their wages are lower than our wages in the West Coast or the East Coast, right?
Certainly, but the cost of living is also lower, so you have to put that into account.
But they don't put that to account when they do the median income shit, do they?
Jonathan, I mean, you can write them a letter and say you have a problem with
I
the
ain't
way
gotta
that
write
they.
him a letter. I was just pointing out the fact that what you said just wasn't true. There are
No, because you
white
can say
people
this.
are
You
poorer
can
than
say the
black
same
people.
thing. You can say the same thing. For example, for a person who makes 100,000 in L.A. and the person who makes 100,000 in Houston, that money, the value of their money is not the same, because just rent in LA is higher, cost of living cost is more in Los Angeles than it is in Houston, Texas, right?
Yeah.
but $100,000 is still worth $100,000, you know, in its way in U.S. currency. But the way that you can spend it in a certain market is different. But it's still, the value of the money is still the same. So that I don't think that that holds water. But what's the other topic, Don? Is it's kind of dry on the show tonight because you know me, I like to be adversarial, as you guys call
Nah,
me.
yeah. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room so people. Hey, if you want to call in, guys, click on the link and call in and add to the conversation. Again, click on the link and call in and add to the conversation. If not, we'll go ahead and close out here shortly. Jonathan, are you in the States or are you in Nigeria still?
I'm in the States. I'm leaving next week Sunday.
You hear about what happened to the CEO of Access Bank?
Yeah, only from watching your platform. May
Oh,
they
that's
rest
right.
in peace.
Yeah.
I
I brought it
mean,
up.
I'm not gonna lie and be like Diamond Bank is trash, but may he rest in peace.
Well, Access Bank ain't that bad.
Diamonds, come on now. Diamond Bank is whack. First Bank is cool. Zena Bank, yeah, they need to get their
What
shit
about
together.
GT Bank?
Fuck
Guarantee
them.
Trust. I have
Don't
I really
trust them at
haven't
all.
that bank.
I bank with UBA, so I mean they're cool. UBA is cool, I guess.
UBA is golden. They cool. I mean, when me and my wife travel, we tried to use her UBA bank card in other African countries. They wouldn't even. She wasn't even going through. But the Zena bank card was. I
Well,
don't know
is
what the
it
hell they got going on.
is it Visa or Mastercard the UBA card,
Yeah,
or is it because they have another? It's hold on. I think I threw it away. But
I know what it's. It don't work nowhere. I know what you're
no,
talking about. I can't think of the name.
if it's Visa
I had
or
one though. I had one. It's called
it's the
Naira
other
debit card, something though.
no, it's
But it
that
only
other
works in
one.
Nigeria.
Yeah, I know that's the one. See, that's the one I originally had. And you're right. That only works in Nigeria. But then I got a Visa and a Mastercard one. I'm good to go now. I just
Yeah,
forgot the name of the. I forgot the name of it. But yeah, that shit didn't work. That shit wouldn't work. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
that shit didn't work. I encourage Black Americans, if you ever need to hook up on one of your bills and shit, Netflix, I only pay like 2,000 naira a month. That's like $1 something. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, save you some money or something.
So are you saying that? Are you saying Netflix in Nigeria is cheaper than it is here
Oh,
in
it's
America?
hella cheaper. It's hella cheaper. You talk about paying like $1.75 for shit that people in America are paying $24 for. NBA, league pass, all of that shit is cheap. I got all of it. I ain't missed the game yet. Now I don't like the fact they gotta be up at 2 a.m. in the morning to watch a game,
All
but
right.
it
Yeah.
is
So
what
I
it
might
is.
need to when I go back to Nigeria, I might need to get me a Netflix account over there.
Yeah. And shit, before they did that weird ass thing that they did without limiting people's ability to use their card in foreign countries, it used to have a limit. I
Right.
used to be out here when I come out here. I used to use that Irish debit card. Go ahead and buy my gas, buy shit from the grocery store, and I was just living it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if they could do that right now. They're
Hey,
selling for like what,
one second,
1,500 naira per dollar.
1 second, Jonathan. So, Dinus, right? What is your thought on what's happening in Senegal right now? There's protests, there's unrest.
Yeah,
Like,
I think Macky Sall's tripping. Like he's really yeah, I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
right.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's thinking. I think he's gonna have to come to a senses soon though.
Right. I made the same, comparison to my country, for example. I mean, Africa is especially West Africa. It's really on a time bomb right now. There's a lot of unrest politically in a lot of these countries. You have the situation in Sierra Leone where the former president Ernest Bai Koroma was on a house arrest for attempted coup. They allow him to go to
Yeah.
Nigeria for. Say that again.
Did he go to Nigeria?
Yeah, they allow him to go to Nigeria for medical assistance, but I think that's a way of kind of putting me in exile, anyways. You had Guinea, who had a coup. They have a president who is not elected, leading the country. He has postponed elections. You know, you have what's going on in Niger, in Burkina Faso. I mean, and then again, not to make this about Liberia, but we have a president who many people said wasn't doing so well, and he was going to steal the elections, and he conceded very early after the election result came out. He conceded gracefully and left, and didn't put the country in any kind of political turmoil. But I just think a lot of these countries are going to probably erupt into some kind of war or some kind of economic crisis. And I know, like Senegal, a lot of us kind of was pointing at Senegal as a model for African democracy, especially West African democracy. And Macky Sall is so disingenuous. He came in there, he said he's going to run for 1 5-year term, and then he changed the constitution, I think, to go for 7 years or something like that. And now he's postponing elections for another 10 months, simply because the political parties have.
I really don't believe that he's gonna postpone it for that long. He can't. That shit won't happen. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
I think he'll come to his senses way before summertime. Yeah, but I think he'll come to his senses way before summertime because he has no. Well, his reasoning to do it is because his party. I don't think they found anybody that could run, that could put up a fight versus the opposition.
And now that you say that, you remind me of Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, the same thing happened. You have Alassane Ouattara, who's de facto prime minister, a guy by the name of what is the guy's name? He died from COVID. He's a pretty popular guy. And Alassane Ouattara, that was supposed to be his successor. And once he died, Ahmed Bakayoko. Ahmed Bakayoko died from COVID, I think in 2021 or so. So instead of him, relinquishing power because he felt like nobody else could really compete against other oppositions, he changed the constitution and went for a third term. And he came into that country to remove Laurent Gbagbo, who was seeking a third term, and said that he was unconstitutional, he was undemocratic. They removed France, his buddy, what is his name? The former first president. He removed Francois Hollande. He removed Laurent Gbagbo for that same reason, and now he's doing the same thing. So these guys are always disingenuous when it comes to African politics. And you talk about African unity and Pan-Africanism on this platform, but I think what's going on, especially in West Africa, is a tricky situation. I know you travel a lot there, and there might be a few, maybe in the next year or two, you might see a couple of wars going on, a couple of political and economic turmoil going on. Even in DRC, people are not talking about it much, but there might be a real war between not Uganda, but Rwanda and the DRC. Now, I'm on the side of the DRC, honestly, because I feel like Paul Kagame and Museveni, who most people don't know, were actually in a warring faction to remove the president of Uganda. Paul Kagame helped Museveni to overthrow the Ugandan government, I think in the late 80s or so. And then Museveni helped him to gain power in Rwanda. And right now, together, they're stifling in the eastern part of Congo, places like Goma and Kivu and Katanga, where there's already a lot of minerals. And these guys are just killing people. They have the rebel group there that just killing and pillaging the resources of that country. And Rwanda is using that money to build up their country. Same thing for Paul Kagame. And the people of Congo is continuing to remain poor. And the president, Felix Tshisekedi, who just won elections, and many people thought it was fraudulent, but one of his election platform was that he's going to go to war. He was kind of trumpeting war against Rwanda for what they're doing to the country. And a lot of people in Africa are not talking about it, but those countries are so huge and significant. If there's a massive war in that country, it can spill over, especially into Eastern and Central Africa. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, or maybe you don't follow it closely, but I think just looking at it from the outside, I see this disasters coming for Africa pretty soon here, especially West Africa and parts of Central Africa.
I don't see I don't see it. I think it'll all be avoided. But now, as far as Congo, I don't know. I'm not really. I don't really pay attention to what's going on in the Congo that much. But as far as Senegal, I think, in fact, I know Macky Sall, he's going to come to his senses.
You say that. That's what I say. Why do you think that? You like him? Because I know you spoke highly of him. That's why I asked you about him.
I spent a lot of time in Senegal. If you understand the people, You know, he's not that crazy. He's not that crazy. He knows better. He knows better.
Okay. All right, man. I think that's all I got to say. I'm gonna hop off, and thanks for having me on.
All right, for sure. All
Oh,
right, go ahead,
actually,
Philip.
I'll stay on to hear what Philip had to say, because I
Go
thought
ahead,
it was
Philip.
gonna close out.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
How you doing?
I didn't plan to come in. I was working on something, but let me first say, I really am digging the new Jonathan Miller. I'm vibing with a lot of the opinions that you have, Jonathan. You've moved me to your position on a lot. So I wanted to say that, and Brother Elvis always thoughtful things to say. Um, I just wanted to hop in. I was trying to see what Amanda Seals was saying to Kamala. I missed the first part of the show. Can someone update me, and then I'll go to what my position has been on reparations from the beginning.
No, I mean Amanda Seals was team. You got to vote blue no matter who, and shut up about reparations. Now she's talking about reparations.
Well, Kamala is talking about it.
No, I said Amanda Seals.
Yeah, but she's appealing to Kamala, or
no. So originally, when Kamala and Biden were running,
yeah,
Amanda was team vote blue no matter who. Y'all shut up about reparations and the crime bill and all that stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now Amanda's talking about reparations.
I get it. And so your view, Dinas, and is that she's flipped because it's anything to try to get black people to vote Democratic?
I have no clue why she's flipped. Well, I think she flipped because of what's going on in New York now, and those illegals getting the immigrants getting those debit cards.
Right.
But it's just like, so when you told us to vote for Kamala, Kamala said during her campaign that black folks ain't getting reparations. Joe Biden said that immigration is going to be one of his top priorities.
Right.
So why are you surprised?
Right. Yeah. This
Hey,
is
Philip. I wanted to ask you a question, and we discussed it.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you're a lawyer, right? I don't know what kind of law you practice.
I'm a corporate lawyer.
You're a corporate lawyer. Okay. Yeah. So maybe this is not in your wheelhouse. But the question was, why aren't many black lawyers, some of these top lawyers, putting together a plan to fight for reparation, and how can they attack it legally to make a strong case for it? So maybe
Philip, if I can add to that, Philip, I live in Atlanta. Atlanta is the black headquarters for lawyers.
Right.
But like when I talk to reparations to these black lawyers, they're just not interested.
Well, yeah, and it makes sense because look, first off, the legal profession is compacting. It's contracting from the economy because a lot of things that lawyers do, you can now do online. You got LegalZoom, you've got countless options to help you do legal stuff that used to be bread and butter for lawyers. So it's a harder scratch. I was actually just talking ironically to my jeweler who's Egyptian about this, that you have to scratch a lot harder as a lawyer to keep the bills paid because some of the clients are not paying the same amount of money that they were in previous times because the economy is contracting. And so in answer to your comment and question, Elvis and Dinas, that a lot of lawyers are like, man, I don't have time to get on basically a pro bono effort when I'm having a hard time making the ends meet, if that makes any sense. That was a long way to say it, but
yeah, that makes sense. There's no money in it. I mean, basically.
There's no money in it. And Dinas, I've talked about this before. The problem that Black Americans have with reparations, at least as a legal case, is standing. And what standing is you have to be the party that's injured in order to bring a case. It's a standard that the U.S. courts require to be able to bring a case before them. And in order to bring a reparations case, then that means that the standing has to pass intergenerationally. If that makes any sense. Have I lost anybody?
No,
No,
we're
go
here.
ahead.
We're following.
Okay, so the US Supreme Court has ruled multiple times that Black Americans, FBA, African Americans, however the term is, do not have intergenerational standing. Now, other groups have been able to get intergenerational standing, like Japanese Americans have been able to get it. Obviously, Native Americans have been able to get it. But African Americans, Black Americans have not. And so, right from the jump, and this is where Johnny Cochran and, the guy out of Florida, Willie Gary, they were working on a reparations case. This is to your query, Elvis. They were working on trying to litigate the standing issue because they knew that that was the biggest hurdle before you could even get to the injuries issue for Black Americans. And of course, as you know, Johnny Cochran died. And so then, it kind of lost a lot of its muster because Willie Gary, while being an excellent tort lawyer, that the issue was standing before you could get to anything that Willie Gary was an expert on. It's
So
a civil.
quick question,
Yeah,
Philip.
yeah.
So you're a lawyer. Maybe you didn't. I don't know if you study those. How the Japanese and the Black, the Native Americans established their standing to get reparations. Can Black people use some of those same strategies, or was
Well,
it
yes.
completely different?
Yes, this is where, when I've come on and talked about this, I have said that the strategy that the Japanese Americans is the strategy that Black Americans should use. That essentially the Black Americans, well, let's deal with the Japanese Americans, how they got it. They started a series of cases with their parents and grandparents about the property and assets that they lost during World War II as a result of being put in camps during the war. Okay, and the courts allowed that. Right, that was the first step, but they were not willing to give them damages. So then the Japanese Americans started working with their home country of Japan, and Japan brought it up at the trade table. So what wound up happening was the reason why Japanese Americans were able to get reparations was because in the 1980s, when Reagan was president, Japan demanded it as part of their trade agreement. And so this is the strategy that I have tried to advocate for Black Americans, to work with people like Dynas to go on and get, if you have lineage from Sierra Leone or some of these other West African countries, to do the African ancestry test, try to become a citizen within those countries, and then Liberia or Nigeria or Sierra Leone, that they have to bring a collective class action as Africans, of which the Black Americans are Africans that were grandfathered in. And that is easily calculable. You can get a claim of diversity in New York for nation state versus nation state. It's one of the few courts that allows that. So if you can bring the claim on behalf of, say, Nigeria, of which 40% of Black Americans are of Nigerian descent, that you bring it as a whole to say, look, I'm Nigeria, you had me in a contract of adhesion of which I could not say no, you took my people from me. Each one of these people was worth X amount of money because we were a farming kingdom, now country, and each worker was worth X. When you multiply that into American dollars now in 2024, it's worth X. And that's easily calculable. Then
So Philip, 1 second, please.
Yep.
So you're saying that these guys who are asking for reparations are missing the boat by not trying to work with Africans or African countries and trying to bring like a lawsuit against the United States in that regards, like the Tariq Nasheed, Carnell, whatever her name is. Those people are almost shooting themselves in the foot by putting separation between African Americans and Africans. Instead they should try to work with these African countries and make that case on on that front. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes, that's what I've been saying from the very beginning. Yes, that we're pissing off the very people we need in order to work together to get any kind of claim. Yes, that's correct. But you got a bigger problem before that, Elvis, and that is that I don't know what the percentage is, but Black Americans don't consider themselves Africans. And because they have that viewpoint, then all the shit I'm talking about, all the stuff I'm talking about, you can't even get to it because they don't want to be Africans. They want to be whatever Tariq Nasheed, or Yvette or, Tone want them to be, rather than what their DNA says.
Okay,
So
like for
you gotta
example,
get past that.
right? For example, like Liberia and Sierra Leone in particular, we had people who came into those countries from the United States who established those countries, and one of the reasons they left is, according to them, is because they couldn't be citizens of this country. At least at that time, they weren't citizens, and they didn't have the rights as United States citizens, and they left looking for their own country and looking for citizenship. So is that something that could go against them, that they were not considered citizens, in terms of the
That's
law?
still the
What would
case.
be your take on that?
That's still the case. In Dred Scott, and I always point back to this decision. Anyone can go back and look at it. Justice Taney, a Supreme Court Chief Justice, says Africans arrived at the American shores without citizenship. They were never intended to be citizens. Therefore, they are separate but equal. Now, this was overruled, if you will, by the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which was statutory and also constitutional. But the bottom line is that if you go like this guy Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, you can Google it right now.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee.
Mike Huckabee. He still says Dred Scott is good law because the Supreme Court did not overrule it itself. The statutes and the constitutional amendments changed it. But the flaw that Justice Taney points out of Africans arrived as non-citizens, he compares them to Irish and Scottish and various ones that he alleges had citizenship in their home countries, and they arrived in America with a citizenship that they exchanged for American citizenship. He then contrasts that to the Africans who arrived with no citizenship, which I dispute, but they came from kingdoms, not countries. Therefore, they had nothing to exchange. Therefore, they were separate but equal. And basically, and I sent the law review article to Antonio Moore and Yvette, because there are law review articles on this. We can't even get to it because unfortunately Black Americans have issues with who they want to be and how they want to be. Some of us want to be Native American, where the science and so on that is dubious, and some of us want to be some sort of separate tribe rather than what our DNA says. And so then man, there's no point. Yes, sir.
What about the elephant in the room, which is your people sold you. So legally you were property of those people who bought you from the coast of Africa. And as such, you lost your citizenship, you lost, even if, places like Liberia and Sierra Leone, where those people came from, in those kingdoms, could confer citizenship on them, in this case, and say, well, they were our citizens and you took them and whatever. But then the other argument could be that you sold them. So it's like selling one property, from another. That person now owns that property, So
Well, this is
what would be a response to that argument if the United States, quote unquote, made that argument against
they
reparations?
are making an
And then Phil, if I could, do you think Benjamin Crump is the only? Benjamin Crump is an ambulance tracer. Okay, he's an ambulance tracer. The majority of black lawyers are ambulance tracers. Old girl Fannie Willis's boyfriend. He's an ambulance chaser too, and you see how
well.
that's working out.
I'm
Benjamin
not.
Crump, so yeah, he's an ambulance tracer. So, but I'll let. But Phil, you're a lawyer. Benjamin Crump is the only lawyer that can give black folks reparations. What do you?
I'm not going to defame a fellow member of the bar.
Okay.
That other people may feel that he is someone that can help us. I don't know. It's an open question to me. I don't know him,
Okay.
and I don't know a lot about what he does other than what I see on TV. So,
And there's nothing wrong with being an ambulance tracer. There's a lot of money in that, and understand the amount of debt that lawyers accumulate in law school. I get it. I ain't mad. I'm not mad at all. It's all good. It's all good.
okay, I kind of lost my space on Elvis's question, but the bottom line is that a lot of black lawyers who've read on this, and I talk to black lawyers, friends of mine, and we discuss this all the time. And basically, the thing is the amount of time and effort and free legal work that you would have to do in order to bring this forward is not something that most of us can afford. So
Let me ask my question again, Phil, so you can answer.
yeah.
My question was about the property that quote unquote Africans
Oh
sold.
yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
Yes, you trigger me to remember. So my argument on that is those contracts to sell the Africans were contracts of adhesion, meaning that they were contracts of unequal bargaining power, where the Africans themselves, should they choose to walk away from the negotiation or the contract, they could not, because they were done at the point of a gun barrel. And so therefore they should be invalidated as the reason why they can't bring a claim, because they were basically put in a position where they couldn't say no. Now, the Europeans, I've seen British people already start to pull out this argument. And so that would be a fight as to how much adhesion there was. But I think it's pretty convincing that should the Africans have decided to have resisted the efforts of Europeans, the Portuguese, the British, so on, to take Africans in exchange for whatever they traded, that they could not have walked away from it. They didn't have the guns. The big problem, and I brought this up before, and then I'm going to have to go, is the African kings made a mistake. And the mistake that they made, well, there were two mistakes. One was that they became too dependent on gold, which some of the gold mines were starting to dry out, to do trade. So they basically were financing themselves on a resource that was dwindling. And in doing that, they made the second mistake, which was they weren't reverse engineering the technology that they had, meaning they had muskets. They had bought muskets from the Europeans. What they didn't do was to work with their own people to figure out how to make their own muskets and improve them. So when the Europeans showed up and put the muskets in their face, the technology that they had was ancient and they couldn't fight them back. They didn't have the technology to defend themselves in a real way. And that's what I'm saying is part of the reasoning why the contract should not be recognized, because they weren't made from two equal parties. They were basically gun barrel negotiations. That would be my argument on it.
And then my last question before I hop off. In a case like that, is it going to be a jury case where people would vote, or is it going to be a case before a judge trial?
Well, when you bring it in New York, you would have to see how it's going to be litigated. You would have to try to litigate whether the judge would have to decide, right? And you would litigate why a jury would be or wouldn't be, and that would be complicated, right? Because you also, that jury allegedly would be of your peers, right? So who are those peers? So maybe a bench trial would be better. But I would argue that it's going to be hard for the American courts to rule against themselves unless a convincing economic argument was brought forth, which, Professor Sandy Darity has done a tremendous amount of research. And I encourage people to go on and read his work and to see if the Africans would be willing to calculate this thing out. It would take money to be spent on the Africans' behalf as well to calculate this out. How much money did we actually lose in selling all these people into slavery? And we can look at the results in terms of the wealth of Africa pre-slavery and post-slavery. So it's clear that the wealth was extracted, but you would have to really put forward a strong case. And basically, a lot of Black lawyers can't afford to spend the kind of time that it would take to move this forward, and so there's a case to be made. But I would say that part of the problem, before you even could try to bring the case itself, is you got to get Black Americans into some sort of consensus as to who they are. Are they Africans or not? And unfortunately, my experience has been that a lot of Black Americans do not want to be considered Africans. They want to be their own tribe or their own identity. And in doing that, then obviously you can't do any of the stuff that I just said, right? Because you don't even have consensus that you came from Nigeria. You have I don't know what the percentage is, a group of us that think they were here originally. And, this,
Yeah, that's the Dean Callaways.
I've raised this argument to them to say, if you support reparations, you can't be on both sides of the transaction. You can't be seller and buyer. If you are, then what are you holding the Europeans responsible for? It just is problematic. But unfortunately, I hate to do this to you, Elvis, but I got something else I got to do immediately. So
All right, thank you, man. You helped clarify a few things. Thank you for your
I
time.
hope that it works out.
Go ahead, Yamoja. Unmute yourself.
Oh, I had a question for Philip. So
Oh, he
got to
gone.
drop. Yeah, I just never hear. I'm over here in LA, so the California panel was there, but I never hear any talks about basing the reparations talk around the 3/5 of a man. Um, what was that? Article 1 of the Constitution, and then I'm not hearing anything about bringing suits against like rice companies or any type of agricultural company that has benefited from our knowledge. So I think someone in the chat wrote about all the contributions we made, but specifically if you think about the South and the agricultural knowledge that we brought, so that these rice empires and cotton empires stood up against our labor, I don't hear any talks about that. So for me, I'm not going to, turn down any reparations check, but I just don't see a solid footing for us. And I don't see our case set up like the Japanese and some of the other groups where they went after specific targets. So, not
And
sure.
I know I will ask this question just for the panel, you and Ernest, but it's just kind of a abstract example, right? But somebody whose father, like people said, Carver invented the peanut butter, right? Which I don't know if it's true or not, but people have said that. So if your family invented something that has been useful and other people have used to make money, and you can prove that they invented it, can people go, and I guess this would probably be for Philip, and sue for royalties from those from those products that was invented by your ancestor who is no longer here, and sue for that royalty on their behalf? Because like for people are saying in the comment, like Tulsa, right? People saying that I think some of those people are still alive. You can kind of pinpoint who benefited from it, who committed the acts. Maybe you do like a civil suit against those families, for the families who were victims of the Tulsa race, massacre, as they put it. So can you do something like that where black people who worked on these rice plantations in like Georgia and South Carolina, like the Gullah Geechees, who brought different ways to plant rice and things like that. People who work on the cattle mill, but it's about tracing, and that's the thing about African Americans or just black people in this country. You don't have control of your history, so sometimes you can't go back to the to your lineage and say this is my grandfather or my great 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 grandfather, and I'm suing on his behalf. I can prove a clear lineage to him. He was mistreated by so and so, and we want to get reparations for his work or for his invention or whatever. So how do
Right.
we go about that? Or
Right.
how
And
do they go
so,
about that?
so like my last name, someone with that, well, my government name, someone signed the Constitution with that last name, and the plantation is still standing in Charleston, South Carolina. My father's side is really out of St. Helena, Gullah Geechee, but the plantation is right there in Charleston, South Carolina. I passed it, thought I was going to go visit it, but just didn't have the emotional fortitude to do it. But I mean, those are like standing relics. So I'm assuming some part of that family is still either benefiting from it or, has some ties or something that we could attack. But I'm just not seeing it at this level in terms of having an approach. So I don't see the likelihood. I mean, California, they've already stripped the financial means of it. Um, so I've been here. I've been hurt by the redlining and that kind of thing. I'm a practitioner and I own property, but that's not my lineage. My lineage isn't here. So I don't know if I'll ever get anything out of it. I've been here 23 years, but we just have a long way to go. And so I'm with Dinus in terms of just not focusing on that. We got too many other avenues and too many other things we could look at. If it happens, fine, but to be pressing for it and basing a vote on it, a presidential vote on it, nah.
All right, Dennis, I'm gonna hop off, man. Thank you for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show.
we're going to close out. Everybody, enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your Super Bowl and football Sunday. Until next time, family. Dinah's Mirror. Search for Haru. Peace.